Hello and welcome back to Financial News You Can Use. I'm Neal Whittington. Thank you to Mr. Wayne Isaksen for the always educational and entertaining news. I'm sitting here with Mr. Robbie Sutton, owner of Carolina Green. Robbie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
The topic of today's show, as Wayne mentioned earlier, is alternative energy for your home. And we're just so excited to have Robbie, the expert, in here with us today on the show. Robbie, could you just start out with telling us a little bit about your background and why you got into this type of business in this industry?
Sure. My background is I grew up in Wilmington.
Okay.
And went to North Carolina State University.
Okay. Wolfpack.
Yeah, Wolfpack, absolutely. I don't know how they did last night, but
not good.
Yeah. So
we'll talk in football season.
Mechanical engineering was my graduation degree.
Okay.
And my concentration was in solar engineering and energy conservation in industry.
Okay.
So anywhere from a hot water tank in a residence to a 300,000-gallon boiler.
Okay.
We have the capabilities for.
Wow.
Came back to Wilmington and started Carolina Green Building.
Okay.
And that's the company that we do solar installations as well as wind and energy efficiency.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I know the people out there anxious to hear. Why should people be interested in installing solar and wind power in their homes today?
So as time goes on, our energy prices are constantly increasing.
Okay.
We've got foreign competition with China. We've got just typically rising insurance or rising fuel cost rates as well as inflation. So by going with solar, wind, or even energy efficiency, we're able to reduce our carbon footprint. We're able to reduce our operating costs for our homes and businesses.
Right.
And we're also able to kind of help the environment out and have a little bit of self-generation.
Okay. Fantastic. So are all houses suitable for retrofit? Do you have to do any modifications before you install these types of systems, or how does that work?
Most of the time we're able to install in new homes and existing homes without significant modification.
Okay.
Sometimes, we want to replace an older roof before we put panels on it, or maybe we have to go in and do a little bit of drywall work after the installation. But for the most part, we have not had any issues to where we could retrofit a home.
Okay, fantastic. So earlier, one of the questions you spoke of saving money, cost savings. Could you give us a ballpark on what it costs for different solar, wind, and thermal installations? And maybe the second part of that question, start with sort of a basic more to a upgrade.
In solar photovoltaic and electricity production, our average system cost probably ranges from $15,000 to $25,000,
Okay.
up to $35,000. Okay, and with that, of course, you have tax credits. For solar thermal, our average install cost is $6,500, up to $8,000, depending on the home size and number of family members.
Okay.
Wind installations can range between $12,000 all the way up to $45,000, depending on which turbine you go with.
Okay.
And as well as we have energy efficiency upgrades too.
Okay.
So,
Awesome. So, and I know we talked a little bit about this before, so I'm interested to hear this because I don't even know what PV panels are. But how are PV panels different from solar hot water panels?
So PV or photovoltaic is for electricity production.
Okay.
So it's actually a thinner, larger panel,
Okay.
and it will produce electricity for your home to be used actually through your breaker box. So it'll
Okay.
power your air conditioner units,
Wow.
power your lights, and power your kitchen units.
Okay.
For solar thermal, what we're actually going to do is we're going to flow fluid through it that gets hot
Okay.
and exchanges heat inside your hot water tank. The difference in cost is pretty substantial, $30,000 and $6,500.
Sure.
Solar thermal is a good starting point for alternative energy.
Okay. Okay. So what type of savings can I expect from each of these technologies, solar, wind, and thermal?
In solar PV, sometimes we can expect energy savings from, say, $35 all the way up to $80, maybe $100 a month.
Okay.
Okay, so pretty substantial savings. With thermal, with a smaller investment, we're able to save, $25,
Okay.
maybe $30 depending on the family size.
Gotcha.
And with wind, we can range anywhere from $15 all the way up to $100 a month, depending on the system size.
Okay.
So every system's a little bit different. It's pretty important to talk to a professional, depending on the size of the system, to make sure that the energy savings you're going to get
Right.
are what you'd hope for.
Are worth it, yeah. Well, that's a really great segue into the next question here, and this will be our last question before commercial break. Can you give us an idea on the ROI or return of investment on installing these type of systems?
Right. So your return on investment for solar photovoltaic and thermal and wind are all a little bit different, but they're pretty close. Thermal ranges between maybe 15 and 20%. Okay, photovoltaic can range between 7 to 10%, and wind is typically a little bit lower, between 5 to 7%. So
Okay.
compared to the stock market, it's still a great investment.
Gotcha, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a short break. You'll hear a few words from our sponsors, and we will be back here in just a couple of minutes with Mr. Robbie Sutton, owner of Carolina Green.